Hey guys, I just realized that I recorded my arm in the other video, so sorry about that. So now, what I did here, while you guys were gone, is what I have here. This is our original file here. What I did, basically the same process I did for the characters, I repeated that process for the cars. So what now we have is the cars separated. Any part that's related to the car is now completely separated from the background. So we have the background on one layer, we have the car on another layer, car stuff, and then we have the characters on another layer. So everything is nicely separated, and the layer and the panel divisions there. So now the next task at hand, what we're going to do, there's really only a little bit of background here, not much at all. Just sky here, there's sky here. I mean, that's not a big deal. Sky here for the most part, and some road. But this looks like it's going to be where the vast majority of stuff's going to take place. So let's go ahead. So what I did now is basically I have everything separated. So I have my background layer, I put it on multiply. So, and I have a layer underneath. So what that means is that now, if I want to, and I do, I can paint underneath it and automatically the lines will adjust to whatever's underneath it. So the line art is on multiply. So, and if you ever want to zoom out to full size, it's Control 0. Control 0 zooms you out to a full page zoom. It's just faster. How I do this is, what I do is I start with the sky. I always go from furthest back to forward. You know, I'll go over the, I'm gonna go over the, what do you want to call it? I'm gonna go over the lines a little bit here, so not to worry. Whoops, wrong one. There we go, additive mask, additive. So let's, well, I know this scene basically is gonna be like, you know, daytime, obviously. Or maybe not obviously, but it is. So we're going to fill that in. Blue. And tropical skies usually have like sort of a haze that happens. Now there are going to be clouds in the background. I did take them out because I want to paint them in. So what we'll do is we'll take our gradient tool. We'll just draw a simple gradient. Very simple. Now keep in mind also that, you know, when building up things like this, you know, it's always good. Well, not good. It's mandatory for you to know where your light source is. So now the whole point of this, whole story here is that, you know, it's the middle of the day, it's really hot, you know, they're cooking right now. So then obviously it makes sense that the sun would be pretty high in the sky. And you know what? That's exactly what we're gonna do. So, pretty happy with my sky like that. What I'll do, just as a precautionary measure, generally I do this, is I'll go in and put another layer, and this is the layer we're going to do those big puffy clouds in. So I have my brush here, and then we'll just start roughing it up. Now as clouds are like further away in the horizon on a humid day, at least where we are here, like in the Toronto area, we get really humid summers. So the further and the bigger the clouds are, the further they are away, the more sort of grayish they become, or hazy. So I'll experiment with some shapes here. Maybe I want that palm. No, I want that. You know, the clouds are part of the composition. Don't think that they're not. They are. So you can come up with some interesting composition with clouds as well too. Now the clouds I'm shooting for here are these sort of popcorn clouds, convective. So it's like they have a lot of, you know, energy within them for rain or something like that. And, you know, the typical tropical cloud that you see. So now what we're going to do, lock transparency. So that's the backward slash key. If I'm saying that right, yeah, it's the backward slash key. So as for brushes, you know, they say, you know, they want me to say the brushes that I use. I really don't use any specific brushes that are like crazy or different. I just make them up on the fly. Like nothing like really crazy at all. Seriously. I'm one of those people that's convinced that, you know, whatever you can get, the stock settings, you know, it's pretty much you can get what you need it to be. So I want the sun to be coming from above, so that means the tops of the clouds. So what we're going to do now is just, you know, sort of rough in some of the clouds. Now I want the light to be sort of coming down here a little bit too. And you know, if the cloud is sort of like overlapping, then overlapping itself, like it's sort of expanding beyond its whatever's underneath it, so that it looks like a shelf almost, then you would make that part darker. But right now we're just concentrating on the the light part. And also I don't want these clouds to necessarily be ominous. I just want it to be indicative that when a viewer looks at this, they know what type of environment they're in. So like, okay, this is like one of those tropical type deals. So there we have it. Oh, let me pick a white. So, oh wow, you can hear the wind outside. We just had a major storm a little while ago. There we go, fluffy white clouds, pretty general. Yes, I know, you know, there are so many different types, there's so many different ways of actually going about doing this, like an illustrated novel. It really depends, like, you know, what you're after, what you want to do. I mean, will take like a little bit of time to do, obviously, but you know, the results will be nice, but this might not be the result you're after. You might want like a different result, like a more crisp result. But this one, I like, typically what I've done over the years is I've always, you know, rendered the backgrounds really like nicely, or tried to at least, because I feel like it adds a richness to the overall piece. It's not so just cut and dry, you know. And generally the reason why people do it this way is so that cell shaded characters stand out against the background that much more. When you do sort of an airbrushy approach on your characters and you know, sort of really hyper render them and stuff, and then you put them against another hyper rendered thing, the background, it can definitely they'll definitely get buried in it. But if you do it this way, then it's like definitely better, because then, you know, you can see it against a sort of more muted background, where you have the characters having the highest saturation colors and the characters of the highest contrast and all this sort of thing. They stand out and it's so easy to read. Otherwise, you know, it's not easy to read at all. You have to sort of like look and find the characters and that sort of thing. And that's why, you know, maybe in like a normal situation I would you know, have the cars, you know, be like animated features, meaning like they would be cel shaded. So anyways, let's save it. We'll save a new version of it. Save a new version. Always save new versions. It's just a good thing to do. It's a good habit. Now we missed this cloud over here. Let's put some effort in here. You know, some of the outline of the cloud looking a little bit too, how shall we say, a little bit too childish. So let's try and make it a little bit more complex. Just a little bit, not too much. I mean, that sort of surreal quality is nice too. So I'll just unlock the transparency, and I'll take my eraser and I'll put it on brush, and I'll reduce the spacings and reduce the hardness just a bit, so that the flow is should be at 100, yes it is. And go in, just erase just a little bit, just sort of define that edge just a little bit more, for better or for worse. But I still want the general shape to be there, you know, that sort of puffy, popcorn-like cloud convection. Yeah, it doesn't mean necessarily it's going to rain in the story. Be careful of the edges you get to. You don't want, you know, like ski jumps or something to be happening here. You want like the curves to be like nice and round. And this is the therapeutic part. Now let's see, after this, already at this stage I'm thinking what I'm going to do next, because this is pretty close to where I want it to be. I'm going to round that out a little bit more, make that a little bit nicer. And remember, these clouds are all on a separate layer, so it's nice and handy. We can definitely go in and start really messing around if we need to. So you can do stuff like this too. So say for example, it's like, all right, that's looking okay. You can go into our smudge tool as well too, and sort of just haze just parts of it. Let's reduce the strength of that smudge tool. And just haze, you know, small parts. I'm just doing brush strokes that sort of accentuate what the shape of the cloud is. And of course, because the cloud is on a separate layer, what's happening is that it's not affecting the sky on the background. Whoops, wrong one. It's not affecting the sky. So I'm just softening it up just a little bit. I've reduced the strength so it doesn't pull it like too much. Because I don't want like a hard cutting edge, like really slice, you know, like this is where the cloud begins and this is where it ends. No. I want it just a little bit, not Gaussian blurred, not that calculated, but a little bit more murky. So there we go. Now we're cooking. Alright, that's looking okay. So let's do another thing. I want that, as the clouds go further in the background, I want them to be a little bit more hazy than that. Not so white. So what I'll do is I'll go lock the transparency again, do a gradient, and go on that cloud layer and do it something similar to that. No, maybe like this, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Sort of hazes off, sort of like goes off in the distance. Maybe not that much. Yeah, maybe like that's fine. Okay, good. Save it. We love it. Now, well, I'm pretty confident with that. So why don't we just, for sake of, you know what? I'm one of these people that does not like having massive amounts of layers. I don't like that. Like as I go along, I consolidate stuff. It's like you should know, like at a certain point, you should know what you want and what you don't want. I don't like having massive amounts of layers just floating around. Just for the simple fact that it's just a lot to juggle. Like you don't want to have to deal with that too much. So I don't know. What can we do? Let's put. All right. Sometimes I do this too, like where I'll consolidate layers, like I was just saying. So let's put the water on the same layer. So I'll make the water this sort of bluish, like Caribbean, sort of like azure, whatever you want to call it. And you know, don't worry about the colors. Like I mean, well, if it's a little bit off, or if it seems a little bit too like a little bit too strong, don't worry about it. I mean, this is the beginning stage. We can mess around with it later. So let's see. Well, we got sand. Now, what type of sand do I definitely want it to be that, you know, that really nice white sand. Maybe a little bit more yellow than that. A little bit more yellow. So, and we'll go in and do the details after, like the bridge and stuff, and the trees. The trees I'll do on another layer over top. So what this is, this area here, it has a lot of like shallow water. So of course, as the water is more shallow, you know, that sort of gives that Caribbean like blue type color that looks almost surreal. Like, how can that exist? How can that actually be blue? How that happens is because the sand is almost close to white. So the sand underneath makes it, whoops, the sand underneath reveals the actual color of the water by virtue of the fact that it is, you know, the water is translucent. It is transparent, but it is translucent as well too, in that, you know, you do get that sort of bluish. When you layer water, you see water, really deep water, it does change color. It's like glass. Glass can appear white. And then when you sort of layer it over top of itself, then you start detecting that more bluish sort of aspect to it. So we're doing that. Let's reduce our flow. I always reduce the flow. I don't touch the opacity usually. Leave the opacity the way it is. And we'll do that. Now, as we go on, you'll see what I'm doing. Like right now, I'm just sort of setting the base for this. And then I'll draw in sort of like the white ridge, the rim of like where the actual water is the water is actually coming ashore there. So let's save that. Now, oh, I don't know. Let's go and do that mountain background. This is all on the cloud layer because I'm pretty, it's pretty easy for now. So if you don't feel as confident, there's no shame in that, no problem. You can go ahead and do it on separate layers if you so desire. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, if I know what I want, then I don't waste time. I know what I want, so we're going to do it this way. So, but there are pluses and minuses to it. So for example, this green is not right, and also I want this sort of hill. I want this hill to have like light coming off of it, or coming down on it as well too. So what I'll do is I'll take a little brush here, and I'll just reduce the spacing a bit. I'll go to shape dynamics and turn on something called angle jitter so that it sort of changes it around. And very simply just go in and start putting in some texture here and there. So now the sun, so imagine the sun is like, how I have it is the sun is like coming this direction. Generally above, generally. So that means good amounts of this hillside would be illuminated. But I want that the darkness of the foliage to be there too as well. And sort of like outcroppings, like where there's more steep hillsides. So, and the other thing is like we'll change the color of this too, because I want it to be, we need it to be a little bit more muted. This is a little bit too saturated. What we'll do is we'll go in and mask it. Now, of course, if we had this on another layer, it'd be easier. Actually, you know what? Let's get rid of the overall mask. Go here and do a mask around. And then we'll go Control U for saturation and reduce the saturation a little bit. Change it, I want it a little bit more yellowish. There we go, like that. Get rid of that. Zoom back. Okay, so that's our hill there. And what are we gonna do? So let's define a few more trees. And then the other thing is I want like a haze to be there as well too. So remember, I'm coloring behind the bridge right now. So I'm not concerned what the bridge is doing and how it looks. I'm not concerned about that at all. So what I'll do is maybe just put a little bit of a haze, just a little bit. And then we'll do the bridge as well too afterwards. So there we go. So let's put a few little highlights here and there. Let's make it a little bit more yellow, because the yellow is like let's put it at the top. Highlights generally are yellow when it's a warm light source, or more so. So I'm just taking that same sort of semi-textured brush, and so now where the part of the mountain is really high and it's facing the sun the most, that's where the brightest part's going to be, for the most part. Generally it's the case, and then everything is in a point between. Anything that's like 90 degrees to the sun is most likely going to be the brightest thing, most likely, because it's exactly facing the sun. Everything else is less or more. Well, definitely less. 90 is the most. And then the darkest thing would be 180 degrees. So this is not keeping in mind like backlighting. Backlighting is a different thing. But all things equal, like out in space and this sort of a thing where there's no ambient light, then you can see like that's how come the moon, usually appears very dark or black on the other side. There's no ambient lighting going on. All right, so we got that going. Let's do a few overall sort of splurts there. I'll reduce the flow a little bit just to soften it, because I want this whole area to be that sort of warmish green. So like that. How are we doing for time? About 20 minute-ish, about. I mean, some things you just can't rush, right? And you know what? We'll go back and revisit this, because right now I'm just coloring underneath the lines, so save it. Save it, my friend. Don't be a daredevil. Just go straight out. No. You must save it. You must save it. Well, look at that. We got clouds. We got a mountain over here, and it's a beautiful day. beautiful day to put another layer on, so let's do that. Now, I didn't separate the cars here. Even though they are cars, I didn't separate them because I'm like, you know what, it's fine, they'll all be one layer. You can do it that way. Now let's just pick a color. I don't know. Let's pick this color here. Or no. Let's pick a darker one, a more bluish. Maybe something like that. And then we're gonna take a brush. We're gonna go to our brush presets. Just pick any brush. Turn off the shape dynamics. That just tapers it on one end or the other. And then let's go in and make sure the flow is cranked. And draw in, or do the flats for like this this part here, the bridge. Now it's all on one, it's all like fairly small, so you don't have to be like super militant about it, because I mean, we're probably going to end up blurring this just a little bit too to create that distance. So it isn't that important. And again, I'm going way over the lines, so it doesn't matter. Because I know I'm going to clean that up afterwards. So it's like whatever can like make it a little bit faster. So let's see, how do we want to do that? Get those cars. Do we want to do a polygon tool? Yeah, they're sort of that shape. So to do a polygon tool. Now obviously all those cars have to be different colors, but don't you worry, we'll figure it out. It's very hot, this place, and everybody's just sitting there. Everybody's been in this situation before. You're on your way to a vacation or whatever, and sure enough, there's traffic, and it's hot, and especially if you don't, you see, that happens too. Good lesson right there. If you double clickety-click too fast, it closes the masks. It closes the mask really fast. So a quick workaround for that is if that ever happens to you, you just color in the spots that were filled in, and then you invert the mask, and then color in the other way. It's not the end of the world. It causes a little bit of a hassle, but you can still use it. You still use what you worked on there. Just have to be careful. If you double click too fast, it closes the mask on you. So let's try and do it this time without closing the mask on ourselves. Well, I didn't close it. I want to, you have to have like some sort of a beat. Dun, 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 dun. If you go faster than that, then it'll like do. See, it closed right like that. And so okay, then we know it's like do. There we go. A little beatboxing never hurt anyone. All right, let's do it over here too. Oh, do I want to do those trees on this layer as well too? Do we really want to do that? We can do that. That wouldn't be a problem. So all the cars go off into the distance. And you know what? Don't worry. Like the lines and the line art and stuff, we'll definitely come back and like soften that up. So Alt backspace fills it. And let's just erase part of that underneath, just so that some of the water shows through. And what else? And this too. Right here, this one. So, and we'll do the trees and stuff over top too, you know. Usually I keep foliage as well too separated. So it's like right now I'm looking through this, and we'll do the park sign as well too. Title Park. Ominous name. I don't know where you guys live, but in Canada every town has a population sign. When you enter the town, it always has the population, and they update it. So I don't always see that as being like a thing that everyone has, but they always update after the census. They update it. So in my story I also have it too, and everything's in kilometers and Celsius and all that good stuff. It's the way of the future. So let's see. This is palm tree. We'll go into more detail with these guys. I just want a rough general shape to it, and then, you know, when we actually color it, then we'll go in. You'll see what I'm doing. See? Closed on me again. Starting to get a little bit high speed. We'll get those fans. There's some cheats for these as well too that you can do. But these are so far in the distance that it doesn't apply. Like there are some things I do for, like, when palm trees are like closer, you can actually generate leaves. Like, you actually draw the leaves out and then you can warp them. But, you know, since you actually did them yourself, you actually made the leaves yourself, it's not cheap for that reason, that you paint like a selected leaf yourself, and then, you know, you go and you like warp it, and you can make like tons of them. And then once you make one palm tree, like if you skew it and warp it a little bit, you can make many palm trees if you're smart about it and hide your tracks well. You can get some sneaky stuff going on, and then all of a sudden you can make like palm trees a lot easier. Palm trees are a hassle though. A lot of foliages too. Like, yeah, you know, you want to paint the foliage, you can. I'm doing it this way because I want to preserve the line art. I want, you know, I put that time into doing the line art there, and as a result, like, we'll be able to, you know, use that to our benefit as well too. This tree's not as defined. And of course it's all on a separate layer as well too. So what I'll do, I'll turn on shape dynamics so it like slims out, and then just draw some lines out like that where we need them. I'll do that on the other, I should have done that on the other one too. Make it look more real. And don't worry, even if it's light, you know, we'll match the colors so that it matches, you know, the line art. So how the line art is dark. I'm just using one color right now so that I can see what exactly is going on. It doesn't mean that the palm tree will be this sort of weird mint green. It just means that when you're flatting, it's nice to just have one color, one thing to worry about. Just one color to worry about. So let's do these flats. But yeah, it's tedious, it takes time. It takes time. And this is the way I'm showing you guys, is like you have all your layers separate, so you can really like mess around afterwards. So let's save that, save it. And all of these you know, trees and stuff here, bushes and stuff in the front here, what we'll do is we'll do that on another layer in front of it. So we'll get all this stuff done here, and then we'll go in and do that. So it's like I work, like it's all in layers, so it's like easy to control stuff. It's very easy to control stuff. So now let's say, oh, we don't like that color, so let's make it a little bit lighter, because the main focus is the bridge. Like the bridge is mostly that color, so we'll do that. And I don't know, where I live, it's like, we'll lock the transparency. Where I live, you know, many times like the guardrail is usually green. But you know what? Let's make it. No, it should be green. My gut feeling is that it should be green-ish. So we'll do Alt backspace, fill that in green. Well, maybe green doesn't work so well. Let's try a different color. Let's see what we got here. Maybe yellow, maybe bluish is good. Make it lighter. Yeah, maybe we'll do blue. So it's like, whoever did it, it's like the motif of that island. It's like, oh, it's blue, you know, because it's like you're at the ocean and whatever, because you are. So we'll do that. And stop that. And get rid of that. And mask out this area. And then we'll do the cars. There we go. So do the cars, move back here. And yeah, I know, I'm going over the sign and the palm trees, but don't worry. So let's see. Let's get our colors. So what color we got here? Oh, let's do this kind of color car. Let's take off brush dynamics. Do this one. We'll pick one. We'll do a dark one over here, and then maybe let's see. No, we'll get our swatches. Oh, we need a green car for sure, and maybe we'll get like. And also the thing is, like, keep in mind, I'm not going super saturated either. I'm being very careful about it, so that it's not like overly saturated. I'll do the windows like dark, actually. You'll see. First, I get the general shape in of the cars. So the cars are there. We'll clean it up. That red car is a little bit jarring. I don't want it to be so high power like that. There we go. Move that down a little bit. And oh, we need a blue car too. So let's get a blue car in there. This type of blue. A little bit less saturation. There we go. And I'll put a blue one in there. And let's see, maybe. So yeah, you know, it does take time. There's just no way around it. You are going to be spending like an amount of time on this, especially if you want to look nice. And I'll put that type of car there too, this sort of bluish. And I'll put a dark car here, maybe another dark car there, beige one there. So generally what I'm thinking here is like I'm keeping the colors pretty basic so that you know that they are cars, but again, like, you know, I don't want it to be too overpowering, like too many colors, so it looks like a, you know, a circus or something. I don't want it to look like a circus. No circuses. And let's put a yellow one. Some yellow cars, this one. Put over there, this sort of a dark gray here. There we go. So we got cars there. Let's have a look. And if they're overall too saturated, you can desaturate them a little bit more. There we go. Now, let's go in and draw the windows in. So let's put some windows in, and you know, afterwards we will put the actual shine and stuff like that. So I'm just doing the dark for the windows, because usually in the car is like dark. Then we'll do shine. You know, if need be, we'll do shine on them as well too. You know, sometimes you don't need it that much. But it's like that shine lets, you know, just some few flecks of like white or something like that lets us know that there's glass on them. And then when you have that reflection happening off of them, it makes it look as though that, oh, it's a very sunny day, very shiny, you know, like that high specular that'll happen when the sun hits something. So there we go. Fill in those palm trees just like that. See, that wasn't too hard, was it? See that? You know, you did all your shading on the page, and now it's easy. It's like all those pencil lines automatically, you know, go on and adjust themselves. It's very nice and easy. Actually, you know what? Let's take off the object transparency and draw some more of these palm lines. And now, obviously, you know, we can see a problem now that the lines, what's happening is that so the palm tree is like a little bit too similar color to the hill in the background. A little bit, like the colors are a little bit the same. So what we can do, we can change that as well too. And just go in and pick like a slightly more yellow color with more saturation. Watch that gamut alarm. A gamut alarm is just letting you know that if you ever wanted to print this out, you might be getting yourself into a little bit of trouble because it's out of range. So anyways, we'll make these a little bit more like this. And maybe we'll keep some of those on the bottom. I'll do that one too. Now let's do that trunk. So let's pick a trunk color, something like that. And we have to have those, you know, the whole idea, like this island it's not perfectly maintained. It's sort of like a, you know, a bit of a budget type of place to go. So some of the things aren't maintained, like, you know, all super hot and stuff. No, not necessarily. So we need let's reduce the flow a little bit. pick some colors here, make it that sort of greenish yellow. And reduce the flow some more. And go in. Oh, it's getting late. 40 minutes. So, you know, guys, like, it's just, you start working, and then next thing you know, it's like, you know, the sun went down. You have to go home, it's dinner time, stuff like that. You just get into it. And it's, you know, I'm dictating the whole thing to you guys now. Like, if I really get into it and like listen to music and or lectures or something like that, and you know, you just preoccupy your mind while you're working, it goes even, you know, that much faster. So Tidal Park, let's make it a blue sign. I want it to be blue. That's the gimmick. And we'll do, make the sign frame sort of a dark gray so it stands out a little bit more. And have your temperature sign. Tidal Park, we'll do it in white here. Yeah, you know, I know I can go in and do like text and stuff like that, but the thing is like this makes it feel like it's, you know, it's drawn. Like it's actually drawn. It's not just, oh, he dumped some text in there. 'Cause sometimes that can look really cheap. Even if you do it well, it still looks cheap. Depending on what it is. Like if I did it here, it wouldn't look as good. It looks better if I actually draw it in my opinion at least. So now, let's save it. You know, like most of the background is this. Like all the sky and stuff like that in the other parts here, like, you know, here and here and here, like I can just cut out parts here, blur them and put them in there, which is exactly what I'm gonna do, shamelessly, because I spent all my time here. I've invested my time and did it here. So now let's go in, let's do another layer. This one's gonna go on top of these bushes. And we'll take that, and don't you worry, we're gonna do the bushes. Like, I'm gonna show you guys a technique for that. Let's turn on scattering, and let's see, we'll reduce the spacing a little bit, and you know, sometimes I'll drop colors and they won't look right, so then what I'll do is I'll actually just color pick like right off the page. Right when I'm dropping like the colors, let's say it's a little bit too dark there, pick a little bit there, right, because the light's like in front of us, and we'll define all that later. So like I want that to be a little bit darker, so in some cases I'm like just going straight ahead and like putting things in. You can lock the transparency as well too, so you don't go over where you don't want to go. There we go. Now let's unlock the transparency and sort of, I would like to make the bottom of this a little bit more defined, a little more stable. It doesn't look altogether good. Let's turn off lock transparency. And you know, yeah, I know it's dark. Don't worry. We're gonna go over top of it. This is like we're doing the base here. This is the base layer. And then we'll go over and do like those details afterwards. Same with here, this stuff here. So I just want it to be that these bushes look like they're grounded, like they're on the ground somewhere. Okay, so save that. Now, what we can do is we can make a layer that goes over top of the line art layer, and let's see what the benefits of that is. So what we're going to do is we'll take a simple brush, turn off the scattering, turn on the shape dynamics. This on a new layer, brand new layer. We're going to use a lighter color. Let's go in and make some, let's increase the flow. Let's make some of these palm leaves stick out like the sun is above it, so it's like catching some of them. So, and you have to know how palm trees actually go. I mean, if you really want to, you can put this on a screen layer too, if you wanted to. But I'll just leave it on normal for now. Everything, all those layers before were also on normal. So So you can imagine like where the sun is sort of catching parts of these palms. And let's go up here. Here's a little bit here too, so maybe the top of this one. Because as the fronds come out of the top, they sort of start bending down. Oh, telephone. Now we'll block that. And that's a good sign because I know I do have to finish this off pretty soon. Then we'll go to the background too, because I don't want to rush it. So there we go. So zoom back. Now all of a sudden those palm trees look a little bit more believable. So you can have it so that you lock the transparency as well too, and reduce the flow. Oops, reduce the flow, lock transparency. There we go, lock it. So now what I'm doing is I'm choosing certain parts. I don't want them all to be that intensity. Some I want to be brighter than others. So what I'm doing is carefully blocking some of them out more. There we go. Now let's go over here. Let's do some on this guy here too. So let's pick that green again. Maybe I'll make it a little bit lighter. And turn off the lock transparency. And do a few streaks down. Let's crank the flow again, because when you do it small, one sec. When you do it small, like it doesn't always read properly. Like here now we're at a really small part of the picture. So let's be careful about it. And we'll stop it there. We're gonna do more. We're gonna do the do some shades. We're gonna do some more foliage and some water as well too. So let's just go ahead and pause this. And I'll see who is calling me. Alright guys, so this is the second part of the background coloring. So what we got here is, we got this so far. So we are going in, and where we left off, we were just doing some of this foliage here. So we're gonna keep on doing that, just a little bit more. I didn't do anything while you guys were gone. So here, what I'm doing is like I'm picking the, you know, the tops of like some of the, maybe this is like tall grass, like there's some tall grass in here as well too, peeking out. And the transparency is not locked, and I'm not necessarily just going in with light colors either. Like in some cases I've picked dark colors and going in. So you know, you can have a little bit of your grass here. So I'm just doing that. Very simple brush, nothing insane. This is all like whatever you see at the side. It's just a simple brush with the hardness cranked pretty high and the tapering on, like in the shape dynamics. So I really don't go out of my way to use like fancy brushes at all if I don't see like the need for it. And that's not to say that they aren't useful. It's just, you know, I don't know, if I can just, I'm like an old schooler type of guy. Like if I can get away with it doing it in a simpler way, quicker way, you know, then I'll do that. If it is quicker for me to use certain brushes, I'll do it. If not, then I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. So let's see, I'm going to do this one here too. This one I want it to be like, this one had like spikes. It was like one of these type plants where it's like really spiked. So we'll do that. So you can like define things like a lot more. When you zoom in, you can go in on a layer and definitely go in. Let's see, let's put some bark on this thing too, the trunk. And at this point it's getting like really, really small. Like, can't see those details, so be careful how you budget your time. Like, you want to go in and go like hyper detail. You can. Now this is like the old leaves. The old leaves like turn brown and then they fall down. And so you can put that on there too. The trunk of the palm, put some texture in it. So even from a distance, like, I mean, it looks interesting. And like, the thing is like, be careful how much detail you put in, because you're just gonna end up making your life miserable, because the fact is that this is a drawing. Like, how, at least at this stage, how I'm doing it, or at any stage, it is a drawing. It is completely a drawing. So nobody is going to expect it to look realistic at this stage, because we can see the pencil lines, and we want to keep them. Like, that's my stated objective, is that I want to like keep those things, because I feel it's going to add to the effect. So nothing, there's no benefit necessarily in, depending on what you're doing, like to go out of your way to make it hyper realistic. Like, it depends. Like, it depends on what you guys actually want to do with it. If you want it to be realistic, then obviously you're gonna have to put in the time. But it might not work. It might make it sort of synthetic and stagnated. So in this case, I know that the loose nature of the lines and this sort of thing are not going to lend themselves to super synthetic lines. So I know there's a type of roughness that has to still occur with this in order to keep it like believable. So, and everybody's going to have like a different approach, different method. So now we're doing these here trees. Again, on another layer. This layer is over top of the line art layer. So I just have a brush with scattering right now. I just made it, just took one of the stock brushes. Very simple. And I'm laying some general just form to the bush to make it look more believable. And then I'm going to go in with a much lighter green and pick out like certain areas of it. Very small areas. And just, again, this is the therapeutic part. You can just like create it. Let's reduce the flow a little bit and build it up a little bit slower. Maybe the bush is like more condensed, like there's not so much space between the leaves. And again, like, don't panic. Like, if that green is not the green you're after, you can definitely go in and change it. Now, I also want to put maybe some flowers too. Why not? Let's put some white flowers in there. So let's pick some white flowers. So let's change that brush to this. We'll turn on the scattering and change the count and the shape dynamics. Actually, we'll turn off other dynamics and the brush tip shape. What we'll do is we'll increase the spacing and do it like this. Maybe make them a little bit thinner, like that. Okay, that's good. Let's see what happens. We have to increase the flow. So we got maybe some white flowers going here. This is the stuff that, makes it like believable. Makes you wonder, like, what do those white flowers look like? And if you're gonna do them, like, you have to set where they are. So I'm saying that these white flowers only occur on these bushes. So it's not just anywhere and everywhere, and it's like they're at the top of the bushes, So then this way, it has that sort of feel like there's some planning involved in this. Like there's some things of interest. Because nature is interesting, and that it sort of adds to that, the mystique of the place when you have those sort of details. Now, that being said, let's go in and we're not going to worry about these bottom ones. Pretty much what I'm going to do is cut and paste certain things and put them in here and just match the colors. So let's concentrate on the real meat and potatoes here. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm happy with this. So we'll save it, and then we'll save another version of it. Okay, we'll save that too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the sky separate, and I'm going to merge. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the clouds together, cloud and the sky together. So now they're on one layer, and I'm going to merge the bridge and the other stuff together. So now that's all on one layer. So now what I'm going to do is create another layer. This new layer I'm going to put on multiply, and I'm going to turn it onto a clipping mask. I'm going to take a brush, any brush. Let's turn off these. Let's just pick a simple brush. We're going to use a gray, and we're going to go in and basically shade underneath the bridge, because it's shaded underneath the bridge, so we have to shade it. So, and maybe what should we do? Am I on this layer too? Yes, I am. So what I can do is I can also do another nice effect, which is use the mask tool. And, you know, as the palm tree, the leaves, you know, depending on how high they are, they would, you know, when the aspect of the sun is very high, the shadows become elongated underneath, like directly underneath it. So you'll see what I'm saying. There we go. So we can have like a part of this thing in shadow. Maybe we'll do it this way. Let's turn on shape dynamics. Make it so that it tapers, and then we can do like these sort of long streaks that sort of suggest that it's these palm leaves that are casting a shadow here, like so. And what else? So let's turn off the shape dynamics. Let's go over here to this part of the bridge, do it under here too. Now obviously like the water should also have a little bit of shade to it too, so we'll get to that. There we go. What else is this affecting? Okay. So this when we get to a later stage, like when we start flattening more things, I'll lighten this again. You know, actually, where is it on the background? It's all the way back there. I guess I could do that now. Why don't we do that now? So now, because the cars and everything are on a separate layer, I can just really easily sort of map it out. Select this color here, go on that background layer, do a gradient, do a gradient, do a gradient, and just like lighten it up a little bit. Or not lighten it up, but like desaturate it a little bit. Push it back more. And here we have this. That sign should actually be yellow, because then it sort of indicates that it changes. I think it should be like a pixel board type thing. Well, I'll fix that. I have a fix for that actually. What I'll do is I'll do it like this. It would probably be more like this. So say like you have, you know, because it's Celsius. So then how it would probably be like one of those pixel board type things. So let's fix this up here right now. We'll go on this other layer, and then I'll pick yellow like that, and then what I'll do is I'll pick a pencil tool. So let's say, what would it be, like 3 things across, 3 pixels across, so 1, 2, or 4, or 5 actually. 3, 4, oops, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is this? It's a hot day today in this place. So we said it was going to be, let's do it right for once. So it's 35 Celsius. That's warm. So there we go, we have a semblance that it's sort of like glowing a little bit. Like it's an illuminated sign. And so we do that, save it, always save it. If you're like stalling or thinking about something, just save it. Just always save it. Now, we have this thing here, so what we'll do, change our brush back onto the normal brush setting, increase the size a little bit, and draw like a small line there. Just sort of suggest that there's like a rim to it. And there as well too. And then, let's see, we should probably have some shade there. Well, I'll worry about that later. So let's see. So there we go. Let's put some shade on these cars too, a little bit more. So let's see. The shade wouldn't be too much on these cars. Not that much. Not that much, because they're sort of facing the sun a little bit. So that's that. Now, we should also do the same thing underneath the water. So what I'll do is I'll put a shade layer over top of the water and sky, and then I'll also create a clipping mask and make it a multiply. So now what we can do, same thing. So now we can go and make this like shade here. So now what's happening is like the bridge is casting a shadow, so you can see the reflection of the bridge. Oops, wrong. You can see the reflection of the bridge, but you can also see where the shadow is as well too. Now the sun is pretty high up, so the shadow will almost be, like it almost be directly underneath it. So let's draw a nice line holding shift down, like so. And it's not as apparent here. And what we can do is also put some shade here to make it so it's like all the bushes are sort of a little bit raised above this sandbank. It's a bit more interesting. And then in order to break it up a little bit so it doesn't look so synthetic, we'll just take a sort of a rough brush a little bit and just like go in and just adjust it a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't need much. Just to sort of suggest that, you know, it's not, you know, so flat and even. And then here as well, this should actually have a little bit more shade here. Like there's like a type of like cliff here almost, it seems like. So let's just do just a general little gradient there. Very, very slight. And even, you know, we can even go a little bit more fancy than that. Let's turn on the flow. Turn down the flow rather. And we have to turn up the, turn that off. Turn hardness down a little bit. You know, I'm not too scared about showing my brush strokes because I want it to have that sort of appeal, like I've said over and over again. Like I want it to feel that it's like, you know, drawn. I don't want it to be synthetic. So let me just push that up a little bit more and then go like this. There we go. There we go. It's looking okay. And what else? What else? Let's do some, maybe do some highlights. Yeah, well, you know, actually I've already got this layer over top of the line art, so I guess I could call that a highlight layer. Now let's take this blue here. What we're gonna do, I want to make it look like the sun is, I want to make it look like the sun is casting, making this blue like really, really light. So what we'll do is we'll go to color, crank it up, and we'll take our brush, put the flow all the way up, turn the hardness up so that it's a very solid line. So, and then what we do is we take that and we go like this. And just like that, it appears like the top of the, and we'll do it with the cars too, appears like the top of this railing or safety embankment, or a safety guardrail, whatever you want to call it. Guardrail's probably right. is like now the sun is like on top of it, so it has a little bit of a ledge. And technically the perspective is such that we wouldn't see the top of it, but it's just it's a storytelling device that, you know, helps sort of establish that. And also I'll do it here like this, and then erase back certain parts so that it, you know, it guides the eye down the road here. Now we have those lamps as well too, so we should do those as well. So let's not do it that bright. So what I'll do is I'll pick color, I'll draw the line first so that the perspective is parfait, and then draw the line in between like so. So small details, but when we zoom out, you'll see it looks more legit. Like it looks like it has more form to it. I'll do it with these guys too. They aren't as drawn as well. What can I say? They're just not drawn as well. So put those on there too, and then pick white. And what we can do is like do like just some highlights here and there to make it, because cars are shiny, so generally even a dirty car is shiny, has shine to metal aspects to it and different planes. So it's just to suggest that it's like sunny, so the tops of the cars would have like that sort of specular, that shine. Just makes it a little bit more believable. And you don't have to go overboard with it. Just a little bit. It's like the you know, like they say the ballet. You know, you don't get too close to the ballet. You see all the hair on the legs or whatever it is. You know, it's all from a distance. You know, like if you go close to drawings or paintings, it's like, oh, this is all. You can see the brush strokes and stuff. But it's about how it feels from a distance. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's not as, you know, those things aren't quite as important. It's like yeah, okay, it's a little bit rough in spots, but then it's like you don't notice it so much, because realistically your eye's only going to look at that background for like a little while, very little while. Let's do some water. So we got water happening here. So what we'll do is we'll do it around here. All I'm doing is just going with a white brush and just, you know, this water is calm. It's very calm water. So that sort of edge where the water starts and finishes, it's not a clear cut sort of blue and you know, like sand. It's like it's varied. So in the end, you know, we just have like, I mean, you can look at any like Caribbean photo and stuff like this and find like similar stuff, but usually with like shallow tropical water and stuff, you have this effect. Wow, somebody's knocking on the door. They're just gonna have to wait. Unless it's fire alarm, I'm not leaving. So like this. And of course, as we start getting further away, the lines should be like more faded out. Looks like we have a little bit of shallow land over there too. So very, very light, very light. Not much. Don't do too much. You know, and when in doubt, look at your reference. But I know what I want this to look like. And we'll fade this out just a little bit as it goes in the background more. We want to just fade it out just a little bit so it doesn't look as brilliant. It's like more in the distance. So, and oh yeah, we should do some under here too, where the light is. It should be where the light is, not necessarily under the bridge. You can, but it should be like, you know, where the light is being cast from the sun. And I'm gonna do a little bit of white here too on this top of this embankment here. So let's zip that over there and there, and then we'll adjust it where we sort of screwed it up. There we go. That's not bad. Well, we'll do one over here too. We'll pierce that black line. That'll have a nice effect. It makes it look like it's like some sort of a ridge. There we go. And again, be careful not to go too crazy with it, otherwise it starts looking like a little bit too synthetic. Well, there we go. That's looking pretty nice. Looks like a nice place. Have a nice time there. Now this is over the line art layer. So what we can do is we can go here. And remember, this is over the line art layer. Now this layer. So what we'll do is we'll pick this green here, and then just do a slight haze like that. Just a little bit. To make it a little bit lighter than how we had it. There we go. Very slight. Very slight. Now, do I want some more highlights here? Maybe even just a little bit. Let's not go nuts, but just a little bit. Make it really bright. Okay, pick our brush. Size it down. And it's sort of like where the palm is like shiny. Let's make it brighter. It's like where the light is, you know, it's like the palm has like a type of a sheen to it. There we go. I'm gonna do some here like that. Isn't this fun? You having fun? I'm having fun. I'm having loads of fun. I like this stuff. It's not perfect, it's not the best. I never said it was, but it's the way I do it. And some people like it, so that's good. I like it. You know, it's like sometimes it's like, yes, you know, I used to do like sort of like more realistic stuff, like hyper realistic, and it's like, you know, there is the suspension of belief is much more interesting. It's a much more interesting tool to use when you're drawing. And what I mean by that is like you're allowed to sort of venture away from reality in a little way. Not too much that it becomes unbelievable. Like, I mean, you can't like draw a realistic character and then the next page draw an unrealistic character and, you know, expect there to be continuity. So I mean to say there is continuity to it. But even then, it's like, you know, this is a reality on its own. Like light works a certain way, there are some outlines and stuff, but you'll accept it. You have no problem with it because it's done so consistently throughout that you accept it as part of this reality. So that's what I mean, is that you can draw your own reality. And I think sometimes that's more interesting than realistic stuff. Because realism, it's like, it's limited to what you see. And if you don't do it that way, then it doesn't look realistic. And it's hard. Believe you me, it's very hard to do realistic stuff. But this sort of stuff, where there's sort of a unique character to it, is also hard. Because you have to really keep sort of a nuanced sort of reality. And it's very difficult sometimes, because you have to think what is in this reality and how to make it like convincing. So I'll just fix some of these numbers up a little bit. I want it to look nice. This is the thing also with Photoshop, is like you start getting really close in details. Like this is so small on the page, no one will even see it. But you know what, we do it because we want the quality to be there, so at least somewhat. So I'm gonna put one like that, maybe put one down like this. Oh, that's a little bit sloppy. Oops. See? And do this here like this. There we go. There we go. Save it. Save it! And what else we got? Let's do another thing. Let's I don't like how similar in distance this looks, so let's sort of haze that out just a little. Let's see if we can't do something about that. Control, and we'll use a little bit of a gradient and sort of haze it back a little bit. And then erase that back just a smidge. There we go. Now it sort of looks like it's going off into the distance a little bit. And that's pretty good. There's a few other tricks we can do. Now the other thing is, oh, I forgot to put some white down here for the, because I have that effect going here as well too. So let's make it believable that the water is there. It makes it, you know, it's just one of, let's say, you could call it a gimmick. It's a little bit gimmicky, but no, I think it looks nice. Sometimes it's nice to sort of suggest the panels are bigger than what you see. So it's like we get a bigger feel like the water, like we're over the water somewhere. So now it feels like has that added appeal to it. At least I think so. And let's clean up that mess. Where's that? Is that here? Where's that mess? And you know what? Let's do it the right way for once. And what we'll do is go here. Whoops. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Doing this the hard way. Let's not do it the hard way. Let's do it the easy way. Now my layers are getting so complex I might have to move my brushes somewhere else. Can I shrink that down more? No? Okay. Let's go here. Let's pick a normal brush. You know, if I knew it was allowed, I would have music going in the background too, because it adds to it. I think it's, you listen to certain types of music, it'll help create a mood. So there you have it. We did that pretty quick. So it takes time. So anyways, here, let's just a little bit of, let's haze that out just a little bit. It's a little bit too sharp. Go like that. And a little bit here too. Just a little bit. There we go. See that, guys? That didn't take too long. So we'll call that the background. So that's the second part of the background. So there you have it. So we'll go in nice and close so you can see it. There are other tricks, but we'll go in and do that later. You know what, that little black line there is bothering me. Let's get rid of that. So, because it's on multiply. The line arts are on multiply, so we can go in and sort of draw on the line art layer. I'll show you what I'm doing. Oops, sorry. I'll show you what I'm doing. What I'm doing here is I'm just going in and just sort of whiting it out on the actual black and white layer. Turn on everything. Anything else we want to get rid of? Hey, because now as we have it, might as well do it. White out anything that's like we're not happy with. And go over here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so let's go. Save it. Next, in very much a similar fashion, we're going to do the we're going to do all of the cars. My favorite. Oh, I love cars so much. So we're going to do that next. Alright, guys. So, but at any rate, round out the video with a sneeze. Excuse me. So yeah, that's it there. See you guys in the next video.